Hello students, good morning. This is your KVR sir. I am teaching botany, Chaitanya, BS Rao Nagar, Vijayawada. And today I could take one important lesson for you, which is there in anatomy. Of course, after this part of anatomy, that is secondary growth, is deleted, but still there is importance of anatomy in the exam paper is same. That definitely 2 to 3 questions will come from the anatomy part itself. So first of all, there are some changes in NCERT textbook. So in certain lessons, in the class 11th we have that living world, biological classification, plant kingdom, morphology. In morphology we have added certain families like Fabaceae, Leguminosae, Asteraceae, Compositae, Brassicaceae, Cruciferae, and finally Poaceae or Graminae families are also added here. And in the next anatomy, secondary growth is deleted. And in cell biology, as it is, everything is there, biomolecules, everything is there, cell cycle, cell division, normal. You have two lessons are deleted here. One is that is what we call it as transport in plants, other one is mineral nutrition. These two lessons are deleted. Now respiration is as usual, no deletion, no addition, and in plant growth and development. So these are the 11 lessons that are left in botany under botany 11th class. In 12th class, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So it means the one more lesson is there in earlier sexual reproduction in organisms. That lesson is deleted for this year. Now our textbook starts with sexual reproduction in plants, principles of inheritance, molecular basis of inheritance, microbes in human welfare, principles of biotechnology and applications of biotechnology. Here, strategies and enhancement of food production, that lesson is also deleted from NMC syllabus. Today our discussion is plant tissue systems. Before we go this tissue systems, let us discuss what are tissues. So a group of cells having common origin and function together called as tissues. There are two types of tissues in plant body. One is meristematic tissue, another one is permanent tissue. So students, all you know very well, the meristematic cells are continuously dividing cells. They are localized to shoot apex and root apex. They are called as apical meristems. Okay, on the latter stage of the plant, we can see the development of lateral meristems, that is vascular cambium and cork cambium, that are responsible for the secondary growth of the plant. Okay, width of the plant will be increased by the secondary meristems. Secondary meristems cause secondary growth. Primary meristems cause linear growth or lengthwise growth, or we may call it as all meristems that cause linear growth is together called as primary meristems, or we can call it as apical meristems. So these are meristematic tissue, and rest of the cells which are having specific function and specific responsibility and specific duty, which is modified or differentiated or specialized to perform a specific function, they are called as permanent cells. Sir, what is permanent cells? Whatever the structure you know in plant, that is a permanent cell apart from the meristem. So I can say epidermis, cortex, parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, all this kind of words, scleroids, fibers, whatever the words you know, all are permanent cells. They are completely differentiated to perform specific functions. They do not divide again, except parenchyma. They do not divide again. They are meant for a specific function. They are called as permanent cells, okay, or permanent tissue. And coming today's another discussion is important discussion, that is tissue systems. Higher plants, several tissue work together in the form of a unit to perform a particular function. These tissues have the same origin. So this is again a PYQ previous year question. Which of the following is must for all cells of a tissue? And options are origin, function, structure and position. 4 options are given. So all cells of a tissue must have a common origin. They have a common origin. Such tissues forms tissue systems, which are called as tissue system, on the basis of the structure and location. This is very, very, very important. Structure, location, structure and size, position and kind of divisions. Different options will be given. On the basis of structure and locations, the tissues are organized by Julius Van Sachs into 3 different systems: epidermal tissue systems, ground tissue system and vascular tissue system. There are 3 types of tissue systems are there. Was it clear? Then let us go the first tissue system, that is epidermal tissue system. Whatever the structures associated with the epidermis of the leaves, of the stem or of the root, all together they are called as epidermal tissue system. First of all, epidermis comes under epidermal tissue system, and next you know very well stomata, which helps in exchange of gases, and the next root hairs. The root hairs helps in absorption of water and minerals, and trichomes are multicellular, they helps in reduce rate of transpiration, and cuticle, it's a waxy layer present outside the epidermis, and bulliform cells of the monocot leaves helps in rolling and unrolling of leaves. So I have taken one picture here. See, this is the stem, and stem is cut into circular part, and this is a trichome, a multicellular structure, and a waxy layer cuticle is present. Clear? And some of the cells, there are some stomata may also be present. Let us discuss first about epidermis. Epidermal tissue system forms outermost covering of the plant body, whether it is a root, whether it is a stem, whether it is a leaf. Epidermal tissue system forms outermost covering of the plant body. And to find the second point, it is made up of elongated compactly arranged, which is the form of a continuous layer. So epidermis is a continuous layer. Epidermis is a continuous layer. Clear? Outermost layer of a root, of a stem and of a leaf. This is epidermis, and if it is circular in nature, let us imagine that may be a root, that may be a leaf. The outermost layer, barrel shaped cells, compactly arranged cells, parenchymal cells, outermost layer. So in case of root, some of the cells will turn into some root hairs. Root hairs are unicellular in structures. So epidermis is concerned with epidermis. What are the structures present regarding the epidermis? That is root hairs, trichomes, stomata, bulliform cells, and it is developed from protoderm. Very, very important anatomy. In the second page we have 2 diagrams. One is shoot apical meristem, second one root apical meristem. In the root apical meristem you have seen 3 layers. This is central cylinder, first line. Second line is cortex, and third line is epidermis. So third line, this is root apical meristem. So this is a protoderm. Protoderm means the group of cells which can initiate the formation of epidermis is called as protoderm, or we call it as dermatogen. And root is covered by a thimble shaped root cap is also. So root apical meristem is subterminal because of root cap. Was it clear, students? This is something about epidermis. Let us go with that epidermis. In epidermis, upon derma means skin, the most of the plant organs, that epidermis is uniseriate, means single layered, composed of single layer of epidermal cells. Each cell has a large vacuole and peripheral thin cytoplasm. Could you understand the meaning of this word? So this is a cell. If it is having large vacuole, and automatically the nucleus will be sent peripherally. This is the fundamental difference between plant cells and animal cells. In plant cells we have peripheral nucleus. In animal cells we have a central nucleus. Assertion: in plant cells the nucleus is peripheral. Reason: large central vacuole is present. And are true. Correct explanation. Clear? So large central vacuoles and hence the peripheral cytoplasm, peripheral nucleus. They may contain anthocyanin, pigments, tannins, oils and certain crystals. Epidermis is often covered with waxy layer. What do you mean by waxy layer? That is nothing but the cuticle layer. Got it? Cutin is present, a waxy layer. If you give water, the water is not touched to the leaf surface because the cutin layer is there, waxy layer is there. Got it? So epidermis cuticle is absent in roots. As the root is underground part, it is not exposed to sunlight. So cuticle is exactly meant for reduce the rate of transpiration. So that is why cuticle is absent in roots. Was it clear? Next, see stomata. Stomata are the minute apertures on the epidermis. So each aperture is bounded by two kidney-shaped or bean-shaped cells called as guard cells. You know very well the structure of the stomata. Kidney-shaped or bean-shaped or reniform cells will be there. Reniform cells are closely associated in vicinity. In textbook there is a word in vicinity, means in very near to. This is stomatal aperture or stomatal pore. This is guard cell. This is subsidiary cell. The guard cells are featured by the presence of chloroplast, or else the same question will be asked in another way, that is only epidermal cells with chloroplasts are guard cells. Was it clear? So guard cells, and one more, there are 6 questions from the same diagram and same structure. Last year 2024 paper also same question. So you can imagine stomata is very important. So cellulosic microfibrils arranged radially rather than longitudinally. So this radial arrangement of cellulosic microfibrils always allow the stomata to be open like this only. The flanking is always like this. If guard cells are turgid, stomata open. If guard cells are flaccid, stomata is closed. Turgid open and flaccid closed. Okay, so this flanking is in this way only. That is because of the cellulosic microfibrils. The surrounding cells are subsidiary cells, and what the previous APMT question is here, there are 6 questions are there. First question, the shape of the guard cells in dicotyledon plants is kidney shaped or bean shaped or reniform. Second question, shape of the guard cells in monocots is, that is dumbbell shaped. And third question, the inner walls of the guard cells and thick and elastic. Inner walls of the guard cells are thick and elastic. Outer wall is thin, but inner wall is thick and elastic. This is one question. Cellulosic microfibrils arranged radially rather than longitudinally. The stomata that open in daytime is called as photoactive stomata. Stomata that open in the night time, scotoactive. Photoactive stomata, you can see that is in C3 plants and C4 plants. Scotoactive stomata, nighttime opening stomata are seen in CAM plants, CAM plants. What do you call it as? Succulent plants. Succulent plants means fleshy plants like aloe vera, bryophyllum, portulaca. Many plants which leaves are very fleshy. Such kind of plants photoactive. So, and another very old APMT question, guard cells differs from subsidiary cells in shape, structure, function, position, number and function, all the above. So guard cells differs from subsidiary cells. These bean-shaped guard cells differ from subsidiary cells in position, in number, in function, in shape, in structure, in all directions. The guard cells have chloroplast, but subsidiary cells do not have chloroplast. And another question, very old and APMT question, total surface area of the leaf that is covered by the stomata, total surface area covered by the stomata is 1 to 2%. Of course, this lesson transport in plants is deleted, but these questions can be asked as PYQs. There are the chance of occurring 3 to 4 previous year questions in every exam itself. Can you understand now? So let us we go for the next. Dumbbell shaped guard cells are present in grasses. In grasses, the guard cells are nothing but dumbbell shaped. Okay. So dumbbell shaped guard cells are there. Dumbbell shaped guard cells are there. Okay. Was it clear? And guard cells contain chloroplast. I told you just now which of the following epidermal cells, epidermal tissue that contains chloroplast, that is absolutely guard cells. And 2018 APMT question, opening and closing of stomata is due to, opening and closing of stomata is due to the change in the turgidity of guard cells, change in the turgidity of guard cells. That is one previous year question. Inner walls of the guard cells are thick and elastic. That is a question. Okay, the stomata that open in daytime is called as photoactive. Stomata that open in night time is called as photoactive. Inner wall of the guard cells is thickened and outer wall is thin. There is a different number of cells variable in size of the epidermis around the guard cells, and these cells are called as subsidiary cells. So here one important question is there, students. You should have to remember, stomata are not for transpiration. Stomata are mainly meant for exchange of gases. But default function wherever stomata is present, their default function is transpiration. As there is a pore, there is a chance of evaporation of water from the aerial parts of the plants. That is transpiration is the default or secondary function. And primary main function of the stomata is absolutely exchange of gases. Was it clear? Next we'll go. So this is again one previous year question. Stomatal apparatus is equal to guard cells, stomatal pore, what do you call it as stomatal aperture, and subsidiary cells together called as stomatal apparatus. Stomata are absent in roots, in underground parts and submerged hydrophytes. Assertion, stomata are absent in submerged hydrophytes. Assertion, stomata are absent in submerged hydrophytes. Reason, exchange of gases takes place throughout the periphery of the plant body. A and R are true, correct explanation. Exchange of gases as it takes place throughout the plant body in submerged hydrophytes, there is no specific function of the stomata. And stomata regulate the process of transpiration and gaseous exchange. You can see this is guard cells, epidermal cells, and cells that are close in vicinity to guard cells are called as are known as subsidiary cells. Clear? Now coming to the another epidermal structure, I cannot call it a structure because it is a unicellular structure. Root hairs are unicellular elongated part of the epidermal cells. The thin wall is made up of cellulose and pectin materials. The unicellular hair wall, thin wall, this is the wall layer made up of cellulose and pectin, Clear? Root hairs are endogenous in origin, and root hairs are increased surface area. Root epidermis with root hairs, very important, students. It's a very important question. Root epidermis with root hairs is called as epiblema or rhizodermis or piliferous layer. Epiblema, rhizodermis or piliferous layer. So I repeat you this question, the root epidermis with root hairs, root epidermis with root hairs is called epiblema, one answer, rhizodermis, one answer, piliferous layer, another answer. All three answers are correct. This epiblema increase surface area for absorption of water, and this is all about the root hair. And one more point out of NCERT, the cell that produce root hairs is called as trichoblast. Means to say this is epidermal cells, and one of the cell is elongated, a simple expansion of epidermal cell is root hair. So this cell is called as trichoblast. The cell that produces root hairs is called as trichoblast. Increase surface area, helps in absorption of water, Done. So next we will see, these are the trichomes. The trichomes very important. The question being asked to cover both root hairs and trichomes. Root hairs differs from trichomes, or the question differ? Trichomes differs from root hairs. This is the question being asked to cover both. Root hairs are unicellular, trichomes are multicellular. This is the fundamental difference. Root hairs are present in root only, and trichomes are present on stem and leaf. Root hairs are underground, trichomes are aerial. Root hair helps in the absorption of water, and trichomes prevents loss of water. These are the fundamental differences between root hairs and trichomes, which are extension of above ground epidermal tissues, epidermal cells in plants. These appendages play key role in the development of the plant, because why the textbook statements that the trichomes are soft or stiff. They may be soft or they may be very stiff and hard. And trichomes are branched or unbranched. They may be branched or they may be unbranched. Trichomes, as you have seen here, they store water. What is the main important function of the trichome? For example, if it is stomata and the trichomes will be present nearby the stomata, so they maintain moisture. So this is another trichome. They maintain moisture, water in the immediate stomatal atmosphere. Outside the atmosphere, moisture is maintained. So substomatal cavity do not have the problem of water. If they are not there, if the air is dry, the water will be evaporated. Main function of the stomata is to maintain water and at the immediate atmosphere of the stomata, so that they will prevent the rate of transpiration, because some of them are glandular. They store water. Got it? Was it clear to you? Then come back here. Trichomes reduce rate of transpiration. Assertion: trichomes reduce rate of transpiration. Reason: they maintain moisture around the stomata. So A and R are true. Correct explanation. Was it clear, students? Shall we go for the next slide? These are trichomes. Now this is cuticle. You can see some of the leaves, if you give water, that is not touchable to the surface of the leaf. It is because of every leaf is covered by thick walled cuticle is present. I repeat again, thick cuticle. If you take the transverse section of the leaf or any stem, this is the red color layer, waxy layer present. That is waxy layer that will not allow the water to retain on the leaf. Okay, whatever the quantity of rain is there, so entire rain water will be fall down because of the waxy layer. And another important function, the waxy layer will protect the plant or the leaf to reduce the water loss. It is very important to know that this cuticle layer or waxy layer will reduce the water loss. So or reduces rate of transpiration. The entire layer. So I read, plant cuticle is the outermost layer of the plants, and it was a waxy layer which covers the leaves, fruits, flowers and non-woody stems in higher plants. It protects the plants against drought, extreme temperatures, UV radiation, and chemical attack, mechanical injuries, and pathogen and pest infections. These are the functions of the cuticle that is present outside the epidermis. Done. Next, we'll go with the bulliform cells. These bulliform cells are seen in monocot leaf. Monocot leaf, upper epidermis. Do remember upper epidermis. There are 4 words can be mentioned here. Upper epidermis is called as adaxial surface. Long, columnar, empty, colorless. Long, columnar, empty, colorless cells that are present in the upper epidermis of monocot cells, monocot leaves, are called as bulliform cells or motor cells. When they have water, if you sit to have the dinner, or if you sit for have a lunch on a banana leaf, in Hindi we call it as kela patta. So if we will give water before we eating food or stuffing anything on the paper plate, banana plate, so we will give water, so that water is absorbed by the bulliform cells and they will become turgid unrolled condition. Okay, when bulliform cells will lose water, that is flaccid, then leaves will be rolled. So the bulliform cells play in rolling and unrolling of monocot leaves. When they are turgid, unrolling. When they are flaccid, rolling. Rolling prevents the rate of transpiration. Completely rolling. Clear? So now, epidermal cells are found on the top surface of the leaves, adaxial surface. Dear students, do remember one thing. The adaxial surface of the leaf is called as ventral surface. Adaxial surface of the leaf is also called as ventral surface. Abaxial surface is called as dorsal surface. So top surface of the leaves of the multiple monocots, many monocots. These cells found in the top of adaxial surface. They are usually found in the midvein in part of the leaf. They are large, white, colorless, columnar, empty cells. These are the words that you have to remember under bulliform cells are also connected with epidermis. Clear? Let's we go for the next slide. Ground tissue system. So here have the definition. It is the largest tissue system. All tissues except epidermis and vascular bundle. This is previous year question 2016 AIPMT. 2016 AIPMT question. All tissue apart from epidermis and vascular bundle tissue system together called as ground tissue system or fundamental tissue system. It includes hypodermis, general cortex, endodermis, pericycle, pith, medulla and medullary rays. Pith or medullary rays. These are the covered under ground tissue system. In ground tissue system, sometimes hypodermis in monocot stem. I'll go with first hypodermis. Collenchymatous hypodermis in dicot stem. Observe here it is collenchyma. Point number 1. Collenchyma gives flexibility and elasticity. A continuous layer present in the sunflower. Patches of collenchyma in cucurbits. I will write one more point here. It is sclerenchymatous. It is sclerenchymatous in monocot stem. Hypodermis. So this is a point to be underlined. And hypodermis of roots, generally we call it as exodermis, is parenchymatous. What I mean to say, What I mean to say, here it is sclerenchyma, here it is collenchyma, here it is parenchyma. So hypodermis, general cortex, always parenchymatous. Endodermis always parenchymatous. Pericycle somewhere else sclerenchyma, somewhere else parenchyma. Pitta or medullary parenchyma. Medullary rays parenchyma. So hypodermis may be collenchyma or sclerenchyma or parenchyma. So what do you call this parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma together called as ground tissue system. Ground tissue system is made up of simple permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue means, what do you mean by simple permanent tissue? That includes parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. I told you hypodermis of dicot stem, collenchymatous, monocot stem, sclerenchymatous. In hypodermis of leaves and roots, they may be parenchymatous. Okay, general cortex is always parenchymatous. I could stand for P. Endodermis is parenchymatous. Pericycle is sometimes dicot stem, sclerenchymatous, and other cases that is parenchymatous. Pitta or medullary rays. So parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, altogether called that is nothing but simple permanent tissue. Let us we go with this. So first hypodermis. Hypodermis is collenchymatous in dicotyledonous stems that may be homogeneous layer or in patches. So if the stem is circular, epidermis, this is epidermis and this is continuous layer of hypodermis, as in the case of Helianthus annuus or sunflower. If the stem is angular, like in the case of cucurbits, the collenchyma is present as isolated patches in cucurbita stem. Could you now observe the collenchymatous hypodermis is continuous or discontinuous isolated patches. Continuous when stem is circular, isolated patches when stem is angular in shape. So collenchyma gives flexibility or elasticity. Continuous layer is present in sunflower plant. Patches of collenchyma seen in cucurbits. Hypodermis of monocot stems. Monocot stems is sclerenchyma. Hypodermis of roots we will discuss later. Collenchymatous cells are rich in cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin. And this is again a old PYQ, previous year question. You should have to remember that. High refractive index is there for collenchyma. High refractive index, which of the following tissue? Collenchyma is also called as living mechanical tissue. Living mechanical tissue. Then sclerenchyma is called as dead mechanical tissue. Clear? So let's we see the next slide. So this is general cortex. So as I told you student, this is epidermis. Some of the epidermal cells shows root hairs. And this is pericycle. This is a pink color layer, let us say pericycle. Okay, pericycle is the outermost layer of the stele. And this is general cortex. General cortex is generally parenchymatous, several layer parenchymatous and loosely arranged parenchyma. The parenchyma here in general cortex helps in storage of food materials. So stele is surrounded by endodermis. Is originally the part of cortex. This layer, can you see this layer? This layer is endodermis. Innermost part of the cortex is endodermis. Outermost part of the stele is pericycle. Pink color layer, let us say pink color layer, that is pericycle. Innermost layer of the cortex is endodermis. Clear? General cortex is multi-layered, parenchymatous, helps in storage, and general cortex has loosely arranged parenchymatous cells. Loosely arranged parenchymatous cells means they help in storing food materials. Next, pericycle in dicot stem is sclerenchymatous and isolated patches, as I told you in the case of cucurbita. Okay, pericycle in monocot stem is absent. Monocot stem pericycle is absent. Okay. So pericycle in dicot root is thick-walled parenchyma, monocot root is thick-walled parenchyma, but pericycle of dicot root helps in dual function. One is lateral roots, and second one is secondary growth. But in monocot root, the pericycle produce lateral roots only. Monocot roots do not have secondary growth. Was it clear? Secondary growth is absent in monocot roots. Next, pith or medulla. Pith or medulla is multi-layered. Pith or medulla is multi-layered. Pith or medulla is present in the central part. Can you see this violet or blue color part? This is pith or medulla. Generally, this is general cortex. This is pith or medulla. Both are meant for. So let you have a look. Pith or medulla is multi-layered, and it is parenchymatous, helps in storage. Pith or medulla is loosely arranged cells, radial conduction of food. So if every vascular bundle is taking food in an upward direction and water in upward direction, food in a downward direction or upward direction. So what about the parts that are present in the periphery? So the radial conduction of water and food materials that are done by medullary rays. Medullary rays helps in radial conduction of water. So this is all about general cortex, ground tissue system. So okay students, this is all about epidermal tissue system we have discussed today, and ground tissue system we have discussed today. And the next coming class we will discuss vascular tissue system, because it requires more than 20 minutes of time is required. That is why I am not able to cover in this video. So we have to discuss vascular tissue system and then next coming videos. This is all enough for today. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.